Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the UndeadGamingCast, episode 3. How are we doing? Welcome. Welcome to our monthly gaming podcast where we talk about video games, the industry, and stuff and or things. You're joining us on a very special end of year wrap up style episode, where we will be discussing our best and worsts of gaming of 2019 in gaming. Let's get that out of my mouth face correct. Joined with me, as always, is Mr. SingularityJosh. Welcome, good sir.
Howdy.
How you doing?
Not too bad, brother. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. I need to clear my throat, so excuse me. There we go. That's done. As mentioned before, welcome to the monthly podcast where we discuss video games, the industry and stuff and things. So to run down what we do on this here podcast is we generally start off by discussing what we've been up to, what we've been playing this past month. Then we move swiftly into our news topics of the episode, and then round things off by discussing what you guys have said to us, your sort of interactions and your contribution to the show, and then we shamelessly plug ourselves and disappear. So, I suppose let's kick things off, shall we? Josh, What have you been up to? What have you been playing this month?
I've actually played a good amount of games this month, which is quite nice. I picked up Pippa picked up a PlayStation on Black Friday.
Nice.
And that came with like Call of Duty and that sort of thing. But I've already got that on PC, so it doesn't really matter anyway. So I decided to replay some of like an old, I suppose it's like an old classic almost. Kind of after Gears of War, like Cliffy B, Epic or whatever the studio was, ended up making a game called Bulletstorm, which is just this like obnoxiously over the top, silly sci-fi shooter. So I played some of that, and that was very enjoyable. While I was waiting for other games to sort of arrive in the post. I've played a little bit of Red Dead Redemption 2, which is very good. I'm very much enjoying that.
I'm so hyped to play this game.
I know you're still trying to get out of the weeds on.
Oh yeah,
something else.
I'm very close to just jamming it in and playing it.
And then like last week, I think it was, with this PlayStation, we got a copy of the Blu-ray Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which, if you've not seen, is like probably the best superhero film I've seen for about 5 years.
That's saying something with what's happened in superhero films in the last 5 years.
I mean, yeah, there's some good ones. Like
I agree.
Like there's some real good, like something like Wonder Woman, Doctor Strange, like those kinds of things, like real good films. But yeah, like I watched Into the Spider-Verse. It absolutely blew my mind. I don't sit there and watch films like all the way through. I'm quite like a fidgety person. Rob will attest to this. And I was just glued. I just was glued to the chair. I couldn't take my eyes off it. It was bro. So following that, I kind of got into a bit of a Spider-Man hype. And we went to like our local like shopping center thing the day after for Christmas presents and stuff. And I picked up a copy of the Spider-Man game, like Spider-Man PS4. Awesome. And that game is fucking great.
Yeah.
It is so good.
I again really want to pick that up and play that.
Like the graphics on the game are so good that I nearly killed myself within like 5 seconds of having control of Spider-Man, because I was in a cutscene and like it starts out like you're in his apartment or whatever, and then like some sirens go off or he hears his police scanner or whatever, and he jumps out the window and then like starts swinging, and I hadn't actually realised until I was falling 500 feet onto the streets of New York.
You play now.
I was like, oh, I'm Spider-Man.
That's great.
And there's this really, really funny moment, like, or like a really, really like amusing little shift in things where like because the game is really quick, like because you're Spider-Man, it does a really good job of making you feel like Spider-Man, very much similar to like how Arkham Asylum or whatever makes you feel like Batman. It's like a good,
Fuck yeah, it does.
it does a real good job of like getting you into that kind of like characters, the way that they move and the way that they operate and that kind of
Helps
thing.
that they finally went back to using the same like physics engine that they used for the Spider-Man 2 game, which was the movie tie-in game, because they really nailed the spider swinging physics in that game.
Honestly,
like it was peak Spider-Man, and then every game that came after that, they were like, no, we're gonna do something different, and it never worked well enough.
I have absolutely no idea why you tried to fix something that ain't broke.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like that. Like Spider-Man 2 is like well known to be like one of the best games of like that generation.
Yeah, and like for a movie tie-in game, like it was as well, was just like insane.
Say the film not so good. The game, however, great.
Yeah, I think like you and me have said this for years. Like that was the best superhero game up until Batman Arkham Asylum came out, and then after that, like we've now got another Spider-Man game on top of that. So yeah,
I mean we've had a bit of a like I suppose in films as well. Like we've had a bit of a renaissance in terms of superheroes. Like I mean, if you remember, like obviously, like in terms of films and stuff in like the 80s or whatever, you had like a slew of like. Like we've both watched the original Swamp Thing. We watched it together. It's dreadful. It's really bad. Like obviously, like there was a bit of a peak in terms of things like the Christopher Reeves Superman and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I thought those were fantastic. In fairness,
but after that, they just made some like bad superhero films.
Yeah,
and then obviously like at the sort of the turn of 2010 or whatever, like we started getting like those good superhero films, and then kind of people were like, oh, there's a market for this, and then we can start making some like cool superhero games.
I mean, it's strange it's not happened up till now.
So
like
that's where we're at, I guess.
Seeing as how like amazing the the film franchise has been. It's
is
amazing.
Discord having a moment?
Oh, I don't know. Is that? It shouldn't be. Can you hear me?
I think it's fine. So yeah, like, and that Spider-Man really exemplifies just how good, how good it can be. But obviously, like, because you move so quickly, like you really do. Like when he goes.
Yeah.
And so there's this really awkward moment where you're like trying to like get the hang of it to start with, and like you're like it's really clunky, and you're just like, oh, this is like it's obviously cool, but it's like. This is kind of a bit shit because I just feel like I feel too clumsy to be Spider-Man. And then like you play it for like 4 or 5 hours, and then all of a sudden you're like, you're just flying through the skies, you're fucking like bouncing off of buildings and like running across walls and like swinging around the corners, and like it does a really really good job of like giving you that that stuff, and there's lots to do. Very much in the vein of like Horizon Zero Dawn, where it's like, lots of like there's lots of like little collectibles and dungeons, and as you're flying around the streets, like you'll get like hits on your police scanner for like people like mugging civilians, and like you can go stop them if you want to. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been playing. The other thing I've been playing a lot of is the thing I've been playing a lot of is League of Legends. Actually, strangely enough.
Yeah, I saw you tweet this the other day, and I was like, "What the hell has happened to you? Is it 2013 again?"
I've always enjoyed like MOBAs or whatever.
Yeah.
And what actually happened was that like I didn't want to play League. I wanted to play Teamfight Tactics.
Right. Just
to see, because I was like, what the fuck is auto chess? I don't get it. And actually, like, I was kind of in the mood to play something that was like pretty, like, I don't know. It's actually like scratches a really like niche itch, and it's quite cool. So like, yeah, I started playing like TFT, and I played a game or two of TFT, and I was like, I hate this. And then I was like, okay, I'll just play a couple of games of League while I've got it installed, to see if it's any better. Like, oh, actually, I'm not that bad at League. So I played like a couple more normal matches of League, and I was like, actually, I'm gonna have another go at Teamfight Tactics. And so I've ended up playing like a lot of both, and I'm like ranked like. I think I'm on like the I'm doing like ranked gameplay, so it goes like up to gold, and at the minute I'm like 30th in like the silver leaderboard or something in the world.
Damn.
So
Get
it
you.
helps to be good at a game, I guess.
Mm.
So yeah, like that's sort of what I've been playing. I don't really think I've been playing much else. What about you, Rob?
Yeah, so I've been chipping away at Arkham Knight when I
Yeah.
can, and really trying to get through it, so I can start Red Dead Redemption 2, because I don't want to. I hate leaving games unfinished, and I used to do it all the time, but I'm trying not to do that anymore. So I'm very close. I'm like 90% done with Arkham Knight. Still really enjoying it, but getting a few frustrations here and there with it. And which I think is just because it's like I'm doing on hard mode. So having some issues every now and then where I just need to like put the game down, do something else for a little bit, then come back to it, and then I'll be able to get through said frustrating element. But the big thing that's been holding me back has been the Riddler trophies. So I finished the Riddler missions that involved Catwoman. I won't say too much to not spoil things. But basically, at the end, he was like, "Come at me, bro." So I was like, "Sure, let's do this, Riddler." And then he was like, "Actually, no. Go collect all my 200 and however fucking many trophies there are, or 300 or whatever it is, and then come back and we'll talk." And I was like, "You dick. You actual dick." So I've done that. Shamelessly done it with a guide because I can't be bothered trying to work out all that stuff.
Who the fuck has time to like work like a proper job and then like go traipse around like the city trying to work out which ones you have done and haven't done? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, so I've done it with a guide and just sort of like blitz through it when I can. And it's now done. No achievement, which I was pissed off about, but I'll assume I'll get one after I beat the shit out of Riddler, and then, yeah. So there we are.
I mean, we hope there's an achievement.
I fucking hope so. I'll be pissed off.
I'm absolutely going to like laugh and or cry
both
when like I see that tweet that's like there was no fucking trophy with the Riddler things. Like just absolute like peak Rob rage.
Literally, yeah. Like as Chat's just said, yeah, fucking frustrated as hell. Like, yeah, just ridiculousness. But I've done them, and I'm all that's left to do really is the story, which I'm cracking on with. Like I said, I'm like 90% through this game. And still really enjoying the story, really enjoying it. Although it's got to a weird, and I called. Not long after I started, I was like, I fucking know who the Arkham Knight is. And I think if you know anything about Batman lore and Batman mythos, you will probably work it out very quickly as well. And I was right. That's what I'm going to say.
It's just one of those things, though. I think like it's almost inevitable, because I suppose the one thing that like comic book games and comic book tie-ins that they can't escape from is that like for the audience that they're appealing to, widely speaking, is obviously the general public who were like, "Oh, Batman's cool" or whatever, but also like your other target audience, and like the reason that you put in things like the Riddler trophies or whatever to get like the bios of like the people and all the little
all those lore snippets,
extra little tidbits. They are like the people who actually like really dig like Batman or Superman or Spider-Man or Catwoman or whoever, and so you inevitably end up falling on like very obvious tropes of like and that's because if it wasn't, I don't know, like if the Arkham Knight, and I haven't played it, I don't know, but if the Arkham Knight turned out to be like Oracle or something, which is like fucking Barbara Gordon in a wheelchair, like fuck yeah, I'd be surprised. Do you know what I mean? But like, because it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but that's not to say that like as a fan or whatever I'm like mad about it, or I think, oh, this is just a cheap cop out. Do you know what I mean? Like I like what they've made a slight change to the origin of this character, only a slight, and it works, and it's really good, and it's new, it's fresh, it's nice to see. Because at the end of the day, like you said, how many times have like they reinvented origins or characters in certain ways?
There's only so many times that you can shoot Thomas and Martha Wayne and make it interesting.
Absolutely. So this is like a nice new welcome fresh thing that I'm playing that's just a little bit different, that doesn't make me think like, oh, I've seen this before though. Like, come on, you could have thought of something different. Do you know what I mean? So I like what they've done with it. I really do. So yeah, but my only issue currently, aside from the damn Riddler trophies, is that they've kind of... I've got to a stage in the game where there's still a little bit more story left, and I didn't think there was going to be, which is fine. It's not an issue that they're doing more of it, because I still am very invested and I want more. That's fine. But they've kind of done a thing where all the sort of like little side missiony bits where you've got to basically take back control of the Gotham streets from the militia. I've dealt with all of that, done it. Gotham is like free of that militia in areas. But they've done a weird thing where they've now returned a little bit, only a little bit, not as much as they were before, but they've returned. So some of their camps have returned and all that sort of thing. And I'm a bit like, I've done this.
Is this because you've done this in like free roam, but then it was actually like essential to the story, so it's kind of almost like retconned itself a little bit?
I don't think so. It's because I think I'm gonna have to put the spoiler warning up, honestly, for this. I'll try to be as not as spoilery as I can, but basically the Arkham Knight, the militia that belong to him.
Sure.
This isn't a spoiler, but after you sort of deal with the Arkham Knight to a significant degree, he sort of drops out from leading the militia, and then someone else takes over. Another prominent Batman villain takes over. So because of that, there's been sort of like almost like a rejuvenation of some of their land, as it were, or like their holdings and stuff.
But that makes sense.
Yeah,
I suppose.
It does make sense, but it's just
the power structure sort of crumbled, and then like now it's got leadership again, and that's like, it's sort of okay.
Yeah, so I do get it, but it's just a little bit frustrating, and I kind of feel they could, if they were going to do that sort of thing, they could have done something a bit different, a little bit differently, maybe. I don't know, but there we are. But it's not the end of the world. But yeah, so doing that, so very, very close to finishing, and hopefully I can sort of like sit down sort of around the Christmas period and play Red Dead Redemption 2, because that's what I'm just like gagging for at the moment. So yeah, so aside from I can't wait. So yeah, aside from Batman, been getting into a little bit of Gwent, or trying to, which I need to do a little bit more of at some point when I can. So yeah, can't really talk much more about that. But there was a new expansion released as well, which I need to figure out as well now. So that's hopefully more to come. But the main thing that I've been playing this month, which has been really, really awesome. So our tabletop group, which meet up weekly to game, we're taking a break from the game that I've been running. I've been running the Witcher tabletop game, and we're taking a break from it. So as a result, one of my players, a good friend, Jo, she has taken over GMing, and we are playing the World of Darkness, the werewolf, or specifically werewolf in the World of Darkness. So it's my first time ever playing a World of Darkness game, and certainly my first time playing werewolf. And I'm really, really enjoying it. Really, really enjoying it. It's one...
Your character is called Justice, yeah?
Sadly not. So yeah, it's one nice for me to play a tabletop, because I usually end up DMing or GMing, which isn't a complaint. I really love GMing, but it's nice to have that change of being able to play a game.
Yeah, sure.
And to play something new as well that I've never played before, and pick it up so easily. It's really easy to pick up and play. The rules are very, very simple. And for the most part, it sounds quite similar to what's that urban game that Urban Shadows? Yeah, where you were describing it to me. It was like very player led, and you're the story. You're a storyteller.
Like but then, I think like Vampire the Masquerade is also very similar as well.
I think that's across the board with World of Darkness. Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like Urban Shadows is powered by the Apocalypse system, but I'd imagine it draws fairly heavily.
Yeah. Yeah.
from
Yeah, so
because of like the universe.
so that's something a little bit new for me to get my head around, but really enjoying that to do that. And yeah, so we are playing a campaign set in Ohio. Is it Ohio? Oh no, Massachusetts. I think it's Massachusetts. I can't remember. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. But it's very northeast America.
A bit like. Actually, no, it's in Massachusetts, northwest.
I can't remember. Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. Sorry. But yeah, so
it's like the Midwest.
So yeah, we are playing a tribe who are all high school students. So and yeah, there's a bit of like a sort of like vague government conspiracy type thing that's going on a little bit. And Michigan, there we go. Thank you, Autumn Kitsune. Joe is in the chat. I assume that's Joe. Yeah. So yeah, in Michigan. So yeah, we are playing high school students, and it's set during like the late 80s, early 90s as well. So like a really nice sort of time period to set it. And I'm playing a guy called Kai Brixton, who is a punk, who's like a punk grunge kid who came from Oakland, California after he turned and moved up to northern Michigan. Yeah, so loving life with that. And I'm trying to sort of play a character that's a bit impulsive. Quite aggressively impulsive, and just sort of doesn't really think, and just sort of like goes for a fight or whatever. Which I don't normally play a lot of characters that are like that. I usually play a little bit not necessarily methodical or thinker sort of characters, but I usually at least have some thought before I walk into a situation.
Yeah, there's some element of strategy to it.
Yeah, rather than just like fuck it, I'm gonna hit. Yeah. So it's really awesome, and yeah, our new GM is really awesome. It's my first time playing with her as a GM.
Nice.
And yeah, just really enjoying it. Can't say enough good things about it. We're playing tomorrow, so I'm really looking forward to that.
That's always handy.
Yeah, but it's a really nice and easy system. Like if you haven't played any World of Darkness, like go and do it. Why not? Go do it. Yeah. So that's what we've mostly been doing this month. I think. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
I hope.
Yes. So yeah, so that's certainly it for me. So if we're good to move on, I suppose we could move on to our news topic. Wonderful. Right. So yes, our news topic of today, as you probably noticed by the title of today's podcast, is we are talking our best and our worst in 2019 in gaming. This is a sort of end-of-year wrap-up review show that we try and do on the podcast, where we talk about our personal best and worst. Now, these aren't necessarily best and worst of things that have happened solely this year, so we're not necessarily talking about games that we've played that have come out this year specifically, but maybe games that we've played for the first time this year, if that makes sense.
Yeah, just as an example, like I've mentioned Spider-Man. Spider-Man came out in September 2018.
Yeah.
I'm only just playing it now. That might be one of my best of 2019 because I've experienced it this year.
Absolutely. That you wonderfully wrapped that up for us, Josh. Thank you very much. So yeah, I suppose it's probably better if we start with the dark and the gloomy, and we'll talk about the worst in gaming in 2019 before we talk about the best. So
good shit.
Josh, would you like to go first, or shall I?
Yeah, I mean, I think to be honest, actually, mate, it's probably better if I go first because mine is the broader point, and then yours is the specific point.
That's fair, my dude.
So like, because we had like, because me and Rob don't really prep for the podcast, and we had like a quick discussion before we went, and we were like, "What's your
Josh, don't tell them that. Don't tell them we don't prep." Months of planning has led to this.
Years of planning.
Years of work.
Yeah. Mine is my worst of 2019 is publishers being little shits or developers being little shits. I'm thinking about things like there was the debacle with Bethesda and their Fallout 76 new release summer pass £100 or whatever the fuck it was. I'm thinking about Activision Blizzard being general arseholes regarding like player support and like banning a dude regarding like Hong Kong and stuff because they didn't like the politics of it. Nintendo with the new Pokemon game, there was some controversy around that, and it just seems that generally speaking, all around, people just like developers are just being arseholes about it.
Yeah. I mean, there's I don't know. I don't know if it's been like big shockers really, but I think we sort of had a similar discussion last year or the year before after Battlefront 2 was released, and whenever that was released, and people now I think are much more aware and have opened their eyes a lot more to certain situations and certain practices, and are sort of stepping back and saying, guys, that's not okay. You can't do this more and more. It's been a shame that publishers and developers are still doing this. Like Activision Blizzard it's really shitty.
It's actively good that people are saying, no, this is shit, this is wrong, don't do this. It's the reason that it's the worst thing is, as you've said, it's them going, well, I mean, I've done it before, so what the fuck not? And then just carrying on doing it. That's the problem.
But then on the flip side, I just want to use Blizzard as a specific example of this. And this really frustrated me and got to me. And I was just kind of like, really, guys? After all the shit with the China debacle and the Hearthstone stuff and, Liberate Hong Kong, Revolution of Our Time, and the way that Blizzard dealt with it, and then obviously BlizzCon came around, and we all know that was going to go one or two ways: either an absolute fucking disaster mess, or they would do something to not make it seem so bad. And there were massive protests outside of BlizzCon, none of which got coverage. And then Blizzard did a bullshit apology. I hesitate to even call it an apology. If you look at the fucking video, if you watch it, they didn't really apologize, and they didn't really. It was an empty apology, and they didn't really say what they were sort of aiming to apologize for. And then there was that
It was a case of, I'm sorry if that offended you, I think is kind of the thing. It wasn't it's not, I'm sorry I didn't, I'm sorry for this thing that I did. It's well, I'm sorry that bothered you. However, and that was what the problem was.
Absolutely. And then on top of that, the way that he, during part of his speech, he was, I can't remember this guy's name. He's like, he's the face of Blizzard now.
CEO of Blizzard.
Yeah. But the way he sort of like vaguely apologized and then stopped, as if expecting people to be like, yeah, it's okay, dude, and a massive apology, or applause rather. And an applause did come a little bit later than I think he was expecting, but the way that it seems so scripted that he was like, I'm going to say these words, then there'll be an applause. And then it just makes it seem even less genuine. I don't know if I'm maybe looking too much into that video, but it just kind of...
Just to jump in with the name, it was J. Allen Brack, I think his name was.
That's it, yeah. So J. Allen Brack, your apology was bullshit. It meant nothing. Yeah, and then on the flip side, this is what got me about the gamers as well. When they were like, "I'm sorry we did this really shitty thing, but we're not apologizing for it." But look, shiny new Overwatch 2, Diablo 4. And and then everyone was just like, "Yeah, Blizzard, the best company ever." It's like, oh my god, man. I mean, like, we know for a fact that they just pulled these fucking trailers out of their arsehole as quick as possible, just to say, just ignore China, ignore the Hong Kong thing, ignore it, and look at we're still the great same company that gives you great looking games. So yeah, now everyone's Blizzard, yeah, it's fine. Apology accepted, because we're getting Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4.
Well, I mean, it really does go to show, to be completely fucking honest with you, though, because, like, obviously I'm a big Blizzard fan. I've played World of Warcraft. I've played World of Warcraft, like, up to like sort of like last year. You know,
Yeah.
I've bought Diablo 3. I love Overwatch League, blah 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 blah. And I've actually deleted every Blizzard game off my computer.
Yeah.
I'm just
same.
like I'm just not doing it.
Same.
I'm just like, at the end of the day, there are so many great games now that I have the luxury of picking and choosing what I decide that I want to play. And like, if I don't feel that like you're pulling your end of the bargain, then that's fine. Like, money talks. I'll take my money elsewhere. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like I really wanted to play like a Diablo game or whatever, and that was kind of what led me to picking up Grim Dawn.
Mm.
And that was like something that I've like enjoyed playing, and that's cool. Like, you know, I've looked at like other MMOs. Like, you know, I like to play in Heroes of the Storm, which is why I've gone back to League. Like, do you know what I mean? There's plenty of other games out there. Like,
I mean, I'm sure we're minorities in this.
yeah, absolutely,
and,
absolutely.
Like, it is the way it is, but we do feel strongly. And at the end of the day, if you want to play your Blizzard games, even after all of this, you do you. It's your money, it's your time.
Yeah, like you spent the money, like whatever. Like,
yeah. And, you know, if you're still enjoying them and you can enjoy them and you can sort of separate the developer and the publisher from the business decisions and all that sort of thing and the politics and the game and all that, then all the power to you. But it's... For me, personally, at the moment, it's a bit of a struggle. I mean...
Yeah, it's a bit sore.
Never say never, but at the moment, I don't feel right helping or supporting...
Like, you know what? I genuinely feel really sorry for like Jeff Kaplan and like the Overwatch team and stuff. And I know that like
the good people at Blizzard,
yeah, like they actually like spoke out against it and stuff.
Yeah,
and like have publicly said, you know. But at the end of the day, if I'm still playing Overwatch and I'm on the servers and I'm like, you know, buying loot boxes or participating in like the events or whatever I'm doing, ultimately it is, you know, it's still it's not putting more money where my mouth is, and that's, you know, that's more important to me.
I think as well, it's the thing of people look at these games and, you know, whatever way you want to swing it, 98% of video games are political.
Yeah.
Regardless of what the developer or the company says,
yeah,
there is always an element of politics in it, and whether you like it or not, there is always an element of politics in it. That's not debatable. It's true.
It's true for any form of media
or art. Yeah, absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. So, but for the most, well, yeah, Blizzard games are political, and what they sort of perpetuate as their sort of main themes, as it were, is good versus evil, or good overcoming evil, in whatever sort of sense or way that is. Overwatch was about this group of heroes trying to help and save the world, yeah? Diablo, about stopping hell from raining over...
angels versus demons.
Literally, yeah. Demons. Literal good versus evil. World of Warcraft, regardless of whether you think the Horde are the good guys, which they are, it is about good versus evil and stopping great evils in the world and stopping that. So for games that sort of fight against evil, and let's be honest here, I'm not necessarily saying China are evil, but their regime is pretty much...
It's not great.
Anti-human rights for the most part, which isn't good. So, for a company that kind of perpetuates this idea, and then to totally do a 360 and ignore it, and literally do it for money, there's just, I don't know, man. You just, like, someone's got to stick to their fucking morals at some point. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's...
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. I'm going on a mini rant here, and I apologise, but...
That's fine. I must admit, actually, for a second, because I adjusted my computer and I lost you for a second. So, I mean, you were sort of just ranting it at the chat there, rather than to me. But, I mean, the last bit I caught...
Dear listener.
Somebody's got to stick to their morals. I think that point is absolutely and entirely right. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, if you're gonna pick your hill to die on, like,
pick a better one, Blizzard.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, that's a big one there, Josh.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So I think that's both our worsts kind of encapsulated in the one thing. So should we move on to something a bit more positive?
Well, not quite yet.
Okay.
There's still more I'd like to get into if I can.
Yeah,
so
go for it.
Obviously, like you said, ours are very similar. But I was going to be a little bit more specific with a company that's was a bit closer to my heart, which is Bethesda. Obviously, you picked up on some of this anyway. But obviously, I think it's fair to say that there's been a sort of very much a decline in Bethesda's favour since 2015, since the release of Fallout 4.
Yeah, I'd say
where a lot of the paintwork has kind of chipped away, and people have kind of seen what's beneath the veil, as it were, of Bethesda, and called bullshit on a lot of things that they've done or what they produce. And it's only sort of got worse from there, really. And especially this year last year they released Fallout 76.
Yeah.
Which was a broken...
It was a disaster from the first second.
Yeah, it was a broken, unfinished piece of shit. Let's be brutally honest, because that's what it was. It was a broken, unfinished piece of shit. This year, they attempted to make, or state that they were going to make drastic changes to the game to make it playable. And we're talking basics here. Which they then proceeded to do in the release of a subscription. Not a free update, like they said, which they delayed until next year. A fucking subscription service where for $100 a year, $100 a year, you could get some of the basic things that fans of the game, and my goodness, I don't know how you could be a fan of the game, but all the power to you if you enjoyed it. Things that they requested for that are just basics of the game. So we're talking private servers. We're talking more space for storage.
I was about to say things like treasure chests and stuff like that that are actually like, you know, it's at the end of the day, Fallout's a crafting like survival game. So you need room to have your resources.
Yeah.
So it would kind of make sense that you could actually have storage space.
Yeah. So on top of this fucking subscription fee, which sadly some people went for, and when they did, discovered that even that didn't work. So the special privileges that the subscription fee Fallout First allowed you were broken and did not work. So private servers were bullshit because they realized that anyone was able to join their private server. Their storage boxes, I can't remember what they're specifically called, but they had storage boxes which you could put all of your loot into. And we're talking people who have played this for nearly a year and garnered hundreds and hundreds of resources to do the crafting game, put them into said storage. What did the storage do? It fucking ate their items and they're gone from the game. So once again, Bethesda have proven to be an incompetent company producing buggy shit that is broken, doesn't work, isn't fit for fucking purpose, isn't fit for the $60 that they asked you to pay for Fallout 76, the $100 a year for the subscription fee. It's just ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. And they're still blissfully going on as if nothing happened and everything's fine, to the point of them banning fans of the game, the little fans that they have for this game. They've literally banned them from the game for making complaints and asking for refunds for their subscription fee.
It's absolutely insane. It's like fucking just shooting yourself in the head, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, so not only did they have, like, you know, a real minimal player base, they've then just completely spat in the face of some of those players by banning them because they had a complaint or wanted a refund for a service that was broken, didn't fucking work, and wasn't what was being sold on the label.
It's just like, you know what? Like for all of the moaning that you've done over the years about No Man's Sky, like at least Hello Games made fucking good on it. Like that's how you turn a game around. That really is how you turn a game around. And I think like people need to start taking note of it. Like, do you know
And
what I mean? Like
and
the
that
problem
and
is
that
like
and that's a fair point, dude. But like on the flip side of that, why does it need to take that long for then the game that I spent 60 quid on to be fucking playable?
oh
Why
yeah,
has it got to take
absolutely.
you
I'm not
2 more
excusing I'm not
years?
excusing that in the first
Yeah,
place. But then what I'm saying is that like if you're going to say to your players, okay, like put your hands up, we fucked up. This is something that we're going to do, like free updates, blah 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 blah
yeah,
blah.
yeah,
Oh wait, no, I want 100 quid. Oh wait, no, none of this works. Oh
yeah.
wait, you spent 80 hours or 100 hours or 500 hours gathering resources that are now just,
Gone.
for want of a better word, deleted.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like, whereas, like, do you know what I mean? Like, No Man's Sky came out and like fucking Hello Games went silent, and we were all like, okay, well that's that fuck then.
yeah,
And then like, so however months down the line, like they opened up a dialogue, they released like No Man's Sky like next or whatever. Then and they've done all these massive fucking updates for free.
mm,
Obviously not making any more money from the game, as it were. Like, there's no like subscription, there's no store or anything, and it's just like this is recompense for us knowing that we fucked up, and this is us repaying the trust of the fans.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like, if
yeah,
you're going to do it, obviously shouldn't happen in the first place, but if you're going to do it, that should really be the lesson on how you do it,
yeah.
not this fucking bullshit like 100 quid and then still take the piss with you.
Absolutely. And don't get me wrong, this is coming from someone who has been in in Bethesda's corner for years.
Yeah,
Ever since I first picked up one of their games, I've been they were my favorite developer publisher for years. For absolute years since I picked up and played Oblivion.
yeah, for sure.
And I played the absolute living shit out of that game, and Fallout 3 and Skyrim, and I fucking tried with Fallout 4. I just can't. That they have just, they're not learning. They're not learning from anything that they're doing, any mistakes that they're doing. Like I think we said in the last podcast or one of the podcasts before, they're still using the same fucking game engine that they used for Oblivion, that they've updated and given it a new polish or whatever and whatnot. But Fallout 76 is built on the same fucking creation engine that Oblivion was built on, with a few bells and whistles, but it's the same fucking engine. And then these bullshit microtransactional practices, and it's just that they are slowly but surely becoming a very, very untrustworthy. I mean, they have become a very untrustworthy publisher and developer, and one of the worst that the industry has seen. From them being one of the best, and let's be honest, they were fucking up there for a long time. They were the
golden standard.
Yeah,
really,
they were the golden
they?
standard. They were leading the industry, and this is how you make fucking video games. For them to have fallen so far, so quickly, it's sad. It's sad, and I hope they do better. But honestly, I've got no hopes, and I'm not looking forward to the Elder Scrolls 6. I'm really not. I'm worried.
And it's like, that's the other thing as well. It's just like, I don't like the level of bad faith it takes in a company to, like, you have to colossally fuck up.
Yeah.
When it's like, if I can't get excited about the new like Elder Scrolls game or the new Fallout game,
Which makes me sad.
Yeah, it's shit. Like, I'm a big like post-apoc dude. I really enjoyed Fallout 3 and like Fallout New Vegas. Obviously, that wasn't Bethesda as such. That was another studio, wasn't it? But like,
Obsidian.
It was, Obsidian. That's the one. But like, do you know what I mean? If I can't get gassed over something that like I've enjoyed for years, and I'm like dubious about it or whatever, like I'm an optimistic person. Like I give games that definitely shouldn't have a chance just on the offshot that they actually like are good, circa No Man's Sky. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's Do you know what I mean? Like, so, I'm willing just to throw. I'm just willing to throw down and see. But there's lots of people who won't do that. There are a lot of people a bit more like you that are like, are very dubious before they'd put some money down on it or whatever. So it's only hurting them. It's only hurting themselves, and obviously
And fans.
up to the point. Yeah, but that's it. But it's up to the point where it's like, normally like you'd research fastidiously like whatever game like that you're going to purchase or whatever if you're going to pay full retail for it. And there was a point in time where it was just like, cool, Skyrim's out, right? I'm not even going to bother reading the reviews. I know it's good. Let's go. But now you can't do that.
But that's exactly what I did. If you remember, that's exactly what I did with Fallout 4. I never pre-order games. Never. I only very, very rarely do it with a company that I trust, which I can count on one finger. Like that.
I was about to say it's CD Projekt Red, I think.
At the moment it's CD Projekt Red, but I think with good reason. But yeah, Bethesda used to be on that list, and they are fucking not anymore. I pre-ordered Fallout 4, and wow, yeah, never again. And with their practices, how they've continued, never again. They're gonna have to really pull it out of the fucking bag with Elder Scrolls 6 for me to even be interested in looking at it. And it's a shame. But there you are. That's what 2019 has done to me with Bethesda. So thank you.
Cool. Wow, that was depressing.
It was, yeah. Sorry, guys. So, but we're not done yet. Oh no, we are about to talk about our best of 2019 in gaming. Would you like to jump straight into it, Josh, or?
Yeah, I'm just thankful. I'm generally thankful for a bunch of kind of silly little things. I'm generally thankful for like the gaming community as a whole becoming much more like inclusive and actually like standing up for like, do you know what I mean? We was talking earlier about people like putting their morals kind of like where their mouth is, as it were.
Yeah.
And like people actually standing up and like, because last year it was like thought this and titty streamer that and blah 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 blah, and people have been coming out of the woodwork in 2019 and actually going, no, this isn't okay.
Yeah.
And actually like
go fuck yourself.
Yeah, and stopping people being so fucking gatekeepery. So I'm super grateful for that. I'm also grateful for like just like having so many like cool games like at our fingertips, and like things that have just like totally outperformed our expectations or have taken like another look at things. Obviously, like I was saying, like, I haven't had a PS4 for a while, so I've been really, really glad that I've picked up things like Spider-Man, and I've had to go, I've had to go at things like Bulletstorm again, because I bought that when I was like 16, and I was like, this is the coolest game ever. And then, do you know what I mean? Like, it's so good that I can just that these games are still getting love and that they're still available, and I can actually like sit down on my sofa and fucking
just play them,
plow into it. Yeah, it's great. The other thing that I'm grateful, and probably be my biggest talking point, and it's not actually video game related, it's tabletop related. As I'm super, super, super gassed about my D&D group, generally speaking. Like, so we've actually expanded into a second campaign as well as another campaign.
Nice.
So like we've got our big group campaign, which is like 6 PCs or 7 PCs. It's like a druid, 2 bards, a fighter, a cleric, and a sorceress. Yeah, cool. That's our party. And like, we've been dicking around, and like, we go over to the place and we all meet up and we have like dinner and drinks and roll dice and have a laugh, and like it's super chill. And if people need to take breaks or whatever, like, the DM's super flexible, and she's Catherine's fucking amazing. She'll just like she'll work around us, or like find little reasons in the story where people have needed to retire or whatever. Like yesterday, like Pippa wasn't feeling too good, and like one of the PCs wasn't getting home until late for work but wanted to play. So basically, like she just made up this entire plot on the spot, effectively, where the PC that was getting home late her character had been kidnapped. And basically, like, you know, we were following this trail, and like, you know, obviously, like when she came back, like we did a puzzle and we got her out, and then we got Erin back. It was Naddy's PC, and then, you know, we went and we did some other things for this puzzle because, you know, we needed to work out like who had kidnapped her in the first place, and we wanted to beat the everlasting fuck out of them, as you do. And then Pippa's character went missing. And it's just like, you know, she's really cool like that, that she'll like, and she's really good at like building the stories and that kind of thing. And then the other thing that I've been playing is a modern D&D campaign, which is really, really interesting and something I've not done before. Like, obviously I played like Urban Shadows, which is a modern RPG, but playing this other campaign, playing like D&D, and I'm playing like a warlock who is just like this like middle-aged librarian. And he gets given a copy of like the original like manuscript for like the Necronomicon, basically.
Yeah.
And he's from Providence, which is where H.P. Lovecraft's from.
Yeah.
All these sorts of things. And like, yeah, it's been fucking awesome having just like these two games go side by side.
Awesome.
And yeah, that's something I've really, really enjoyed. It's just like getting down and dirty and just rolling some dice with my friends and just having that opportunity to play and paint minis and, you know, get into the like the what is it called, like the snappy stuff or whatever it is, you know, like when you get deep in like the crunchy stuff, like getting into like the numbers and talking about like the classes and like who's doing what and why, and do you know what I mean?
Just
like
all that good juicy nerd talk.
Yeah, and like, you know, like what's a cool way to solve problems? Where it's like my character's a druid. Like, well, our friend went missing. There's a trail of blood. Like, you know, you could just follow the trail of blood, or I could turn into a dog and follow. Like, do you know what I mean? And like sniff them out because I get advantage on stealth checks that like on the rolls that way. And do you know what I mean? Like, just really, yeah, like that's what I've really been enjoying. I think that's been my most memorable gaming thing of 2019, and it's all to do with my D&D group. Pretty much.
That's awesome. Sorry, I was I needed to get my phone charger wire.
That's fine.
Charge my phone.
Did you like text Amber or something and be like, come downstairs and give me a wire?
I did, yeah, because I realised that all of the replies that we've had have been are easier to access on my phone than they are anything else during the stream. So I had to charge it. I was only on 1%. Scary 1%. So yes, that's awesome. Yeah, no, I think mine's similar to a degree. So off the back of Josh, my best of 29. Oh, provided you're done. Sorry, I didn't check if you had like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm done.
You're finished now.
Yeah, I'm done. Like,
no more talk from you.
Really, not much else to say unless you want me going on about D&D for hours on end.
I mean, it would be a worthy bonus episode.
Maybe a side quest or whatever.
Yes. Anyway, so like we said at the start, unfortunately, Josh and I, we're not privileged enough to buy the latest and best games out there on release. Unfortunately. We just don't live that sort of lifestyle. However, if you'd like to fund us for that, we'd do it. We'll fucking do it. But until such time.
Patreon, buy my nudes.
So our best and worst of 2019. I mean, our worst were very, very much of this year, but our best not necessarily of this year. So a little game last year came out, and I hopefully everyone will appreciate how I've wormed this in, as I will plan to do every single episode. You're welcome. Last year, Artal Saurian, a tabletop role-playing company known for cyberpunk, would you believe, released a game called The Witcher tabletop role-playing game. If you heard that massive thud, if you're not watching, Josh just threw his headphones down and was about to leave. Touche. Yeah. The Witcher tabletop came out last year, but I only got it this year for my birthday. And since then, I basically got my tabletop group and was like, hey, we're playing this, you're welcome. Luckily, they've really enjoyed it, unless they're lying to me to my face. But we basically played it for most of the year. Are you sponsored by them? I wish I was. Look, CDPR, you wanna sponsor me? Like, we'll talk money. That's fine. But yeah, so we've been playing The Witcher Tabletop. It's a really cool system and really nice. And just, for me, really nice to continue to play games in this world that I absolutely love. And for the most part as well, sort of like, most people in opposition are very much the same, where we're busy a lot of the time, whether it's due to work or family or other bits and bobs. I work, and I'm also trying to start a career doing something else as well at the same time, and all the other stuff that life throws at you. So it doesn't always leave a lot of time for me to game, sadly. But with tabletop, and I think Josh, you'll probably agree, at the very least, I know I get 1 day a week. 1 day a week where I can do some gaming. And it's not just like me sitting down with a PlayStation, which, don't get me wrong, I love, is great. But for me to like go and connect with people, have people round a table, have like human interactions with people, and experience a game together, like, I think it just speaks volumes for tabletop role-playing. Like, if you haven't tried, it's 2019, if you haven't tried tabletop role-playing games, go do them. They're amazing. So I know at the very least I had like 1 day a week where I would definitely have some gaming, and I love that and cherish that every single time when I haven't had time to do any other sorts of gaming at all. So for me to do that and do it in a game that I absolutely love, with a world I absolutely love, because I was writing the game as well, so that was like just amazing for me. And just to involve people and invest people as well into something else that I love as well, and sort of
just getting an absolute fucking nerd on writing about.
Absolutely, yeah. And I've really, that has been by far the best thing for me in gaming this year is playing that game. But not just because it's The Witcher, but it goes so much more than that, because I'm playing with, like you said, Josh, you love your weekly group. Yeah. And I think there's just something really special about that, where your weekly group become like a little family, your own little nerdy family, where you're sort of like joining each other in the real world, but then you're also, playing this game, and you're making these characters and this story and this world together and these adventures. And there's just something really beautiful and precious about that. And
can I drop a humble brag here? Sorry,
absolutely.
Like, just talking about, like gathering around with your friends, blah 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 blah. I rolled 5 nat 20s last night.
Nice. Nice.
Just saying.
Nice.
And touching back,
these dice are rigged.
Yeah, they're weighted.
They're weighted dice.
Like the other thing is that, touching back on something you said, it's like, yeah, fine. Like, I don't get to play every week, sadly. Like, yeah. However, because obviously the group is so big. Like two of the group are like doctors, so they've obviously got like quite like hard jobs. Somebody works in like heritage, so it's like, obviously they work like for the museum, and they've got like lots of stuff going on for the museum, that sort of thing. So it's kind of like, Pippa, my partner, she works in catering, so like no fucking chance this time of year.
Shifts and work hours just all over the damn place. Yeah,
but it's so nice that like, I sit there and I'm like, fuck, I get like really bummed out. I'm like, shit, we're not playing this week. But next Thursday, and it really does power you through going,
got to get to that game. Got to get to that game.
If I can get through like 6 more days.
Absolutely.
I'll be sat around the table with my friends eating pizza, playing D&D. Like,
absolutely. Yeah. And it's just, there you are. Like, I've, partly because of that game, it's made a year really good, and this is really the first time this year, especially, it's come on very, very strong, that I've had a weekly tabletop group and had a weekly session and done stuff like this year. So it's kind of new to me as well, and it's just been great. And again, testament to what I said earlier, with our group, because one of my players is now our GM. And we're playing a game that they've had experience in, but I've not. And it's just a testament as well, not just to the game, that they're games that we play, but the people you're playing with, that's a huge part of it. And I know I get to see my little nerdy family every week, and it's just nice. Like, we, instead of us, having dinner round the table, we have tabletop round the table. It's just fantastic. It's just great. And yes, you wouldn't be playing The Witcher 3 if it was not for me. You're welcome. You're welcome.
What was I just about to say then? I was actually about to make a point on something. Oh yeah, about like I don't know, like can you like leave links and stuff in descriptions and things? Because funnily enough, because before I came on, I was actually listening to a podcast, which is hosted by like my favorite dungeon master, a guy called Brennan Lee Monaghan. And he runs like on a service called like Dropout, but it's also on YouTube called Dimension 20. And it's got some great people in it that I really, really enjoy. And he has a podcast kind of about like the GM experience, the game table experience. And he was talking to like, his host, his like co-host or whatever, because it changes every week, about how D&D like and LARP, because his actual background, funnily enough, I didn't know this, is apparently a LARPing background, which is obviously relevant for us because we're fucking nerds and we enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
And it's talking about like how like those things that you learn when you're role playing with people actually transfer into real life, tangible, literal life skills.
Yeah.
And then also having that group that you play with every single week, and when like knowing like when you change campaigns and stuff, is like it builds such a trust in like your friendship group, because like that like between whoever sat at the table, like they know how far they can push you without breaking you. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, with your group that you're not going to bring up whatever, you're not going to bring up like, parental abuse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But something else you might be able to touch a button, but that's not cool, and that's like, and it builds such like a trust between the group, and it makes everybody at the table so close, because like that when you go into these like quote unquote like life and death situations, that like that person has your back.
Yeah.
And so what I'll do is if I can find the podcast somewhere, I'll link it to you, Robin, if you want to look at the description. Like, it's a really good watch.
Yeah. Like, and just building on that as well. Like the last elements of my Witcher campaign were dealt with a really, really heavy subject, because it lends itself to the world of The Witcher, which is a dark, gritty, horrible world. So, I'd like to add those elements in, and I know that I've got trust, like you said, with my group, that we can deal with those elements in a respectful way that everyone feels comfortable with. But again, if someone didn't feel comfortable with any element of it, there's no reason they can't say, sorry, I can we not, or can we skip this, or whatever, and it wouldn't be an issue. It's awesome. It's awesome being part of your own sort of little community or little family there in that respect, and you just getting together and gaming and just enjoying life. It's great. So yes, that's been my best of 2019, and yours as well.
Yeah, there you go. So on the video game podcast, we can take away the video games aren't good in 2019. Play tabletop games with your friends.
Absolutely, yes, indeed, yes. So, well, if we're done here, let's ask you, the viewer. We asked you earlier today for you to interact with us online by telling us your bests and worsts of gaming in 2019. So we've had a few replies on the Facebooks and the Twitters and the whatnot. If I can find them, my goodness, where are they?
Sad.
No, wrong one. Sorry, guys. There we go. Yeah. So friend of the show, Josie Ashton, who I think is Autumn Kitsune in the chat. I assume it is, if I've understood the chats correctly. So Autumn Kitsune has said her best for this year has been Borderlands 3. Fantastic story, balanced characters, and some of the best multiplayer content I've seen for a while.
It is a good game.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, heard nothing but good stuff about Borderlands 3, mostly from her. But yeah, nothing but good stuff about it, which is good and surprising, especially for a Gearbox game, and no microtransactions as well. So well done, Borderlands.
Always handy.
But her worst, sadly, was Neverwinter Online. Obviously, it wasn't released this year, but they experienced it on the Xbox One this year. Clunky system, unclear what to do, and heavy pay to win, which is sad. But it is one of those free-to-play MMOs, I think, isn't it now? So
it is, yeah. But I mean,
sadly,
there's a way to do free-to-play without doing pay-to-win.
Absolutely. Just sadly, some companies haven't figured that out yet. But there we are. So yes. Sadly, nothing on Instagram. We've had a few on Twitter, though.
A couple on Twitter. I've got those on Twitter. If you want
brilliant.
Me to read them.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got Always Room for Luke, who was here a little bit earlier.
Mm-hmm.
He said that he's not really played too many games released in 2019, but the two stand out for the best for him are Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which is actually pretty good, I'm not going to lie, and The Outer Worlds, which I've not played yet, but I've heard nothing but good stuff about, which is like a sci-fi RPG, if I'm right.
Yep, by Obsidian, a spiritual successor to Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah, there you go then. So it can't be too bad. And he said his biggest disappointment this year, in his opinion, that he played was the horror game Blair Witch Project. That was tedious and boring, which is a shame. Because obviously, like iconic, iconic horror IP, always a shame. And then your good friend Nick Wybrow, who did the Artfield channel, if I'm correct.
Absolutely, yes. Follow him on Twitter at Zessie/Nick_Nick.
Yeah, he said, my best gaming of the year was probably the release of Kingdom Hearts 3. So many feels, and it lived up to the hype and beyond.
Nice.
The worst was probably... the worst, honestly, it's been pretty hard this year, as it's been pretty good for video games. Possibly the lack of single-player downloadable content for Red Dead Redemption. But, there's still time yet. I mean, that game's not that old.
No, it's not, is it? Yeah.
I think, they did Undead Nightmare and stuff for the first one. So, and that didn't come out till much later than standard RDR. So, hold out hope, Nick. You very well might get some. It
would be nice to see it, but I kind of imagine that if we do see DLC for it, it'll probably be multiplayer, unfortunately. But
yeah, and the other thing as well is that it might also just be, generally speaking, removed as was like Undead Nightmare. But like circa, I'm just kind of thinking something like Far Cry, with like there was Far Cry, whatever it was, but then the DLC was Blood Dragon, and that was like it's totally own its
own IP
nothing
to a
do
degree.
With anything. Yeah,
absolutely. So yeah, awesome.
So thank you very much, Nick and Luke,
and Autumn Kitsune. So thank you. Yes. Thank you guys so much for engaging with us online with our topics and stuff. We really, really appreciate it. And we hope to do more of them in the future. Absolutely. So yeah, that kind of rounds up our podcast for today. It's been quite short and sweet, really, isn't it? Only been going for about an hour and 15, so not
I mean, to be fair, we talked for 90 minutes about Grim Dawn last month, so...
We did. Oh, my goodness, yeah. It's a long one. Yes. So, anyway, thank you very much for tuning in. Before we sort of shamelessly plug ourselves, obviously, this year has been a very good one in gaming, I think, for the most part. I think we can all agree. And hopefully moving forward into 2020 we can continue to get better, especially with PlayStation 5 on the horizon and the new Xbox as well on the horizon, and things can hopefully only get better. So remember, be good people, guys. Be good people. don't know where I'm going with this, honestly, but yeah,
it's a nice sentiment. Like it's definitely be more kind. I think and look forward to be more kind and like welcome people into the gaming community, whether that's at your kitchen table playing The Witcher, or whether that's riding your horse around in Red Dead Online. Like, just, do you know what I mean? Like, a little bit of kindness goes a really, really long way.
Absolutely.
And I like to think that, like, the people that listen or watch the Undead Gaming Cast are cool people and will extend that, like, friendly hand out to others as well.
Absolutely. Well said. Yeah. let's just be welcoming to this awesome hobby that we all have, and this awesome thing we all do and love, because we're all here to love and enjoy it. So let's do that. Let's do that. So it's also become rather apparent in the last 2 episodes, especially the last 2, where myself and Josh's opinions are very, very similar. So we certainly need and will be next year bringing on guests onto the show. We've kind of wanted to make sure we get this down again for ourselves and know what we're doing and get comfortable with this cast ourselves before we sort of invite others onto the podcast. But next year that will change, as we will be adding more guests onto the show and bringing them on for various topics and whatnot, and this, that, and the other. And yeah, so hopefully you can hear more interesting voices and get introduced to more interesting people as well. So yes. Oh God, where am I going with this? Anyway, thank you so much for watching and tuning in. Also, I need to get better at putting the damn podcast on Apple Podcast. Yes, if you're unaware, you can download the podcast for free on Apple Podcast and listen as and where you choose, whether that's on the toilet, as you're driving, or as you're walking to wherever it is. Please listen and download. Also, leave us a nice review, because it really helps us out if you can. And if you obviously Absolutely. And if you missed the podcast, but would you like to watch it, then you can catch it on youtube.com/theundeadgamer, where I post all the VODs there for your viewing pleasure. So, Mr. Singularity Josh, what do you do? Where can we find you on the internet? Let us know now.
Quite often cry and just sit there in the dark. When I'm not crying or sitting there in the dark, I do occasionally turn on Twitch and stream. I genuinely, I've been so bad this month with streaming, but I've got a fair bit going on, kind of like with myself, etc. So I've just not really been in a place to do it.
Absolutely.
But at some point, I might stream some TFT or some League or something, maybe just for just because
why not?
Why not? Yeah. And I'm enjoying it, and I might as well make the most of it while I can. So you can find me at twitch.tv/SingularityJosh. You can find me on Twitter at SingularityJosh. You can find me on Instagram at SingularityJosh. Or if you're interested in miniatures, at Singularity Paints, which is my painting Instagram, where I'm painting some Cthulhu minis at the moment and some Warhammer minis, including a little Christmas goblin, which I'm just going to show those of you who actually give a shit on the camera. He was quite amusing. And I have a Facebook as well, which is facebook.com/SingularityJosh, but I must admit I don't particularly use it and haven't done for a while.
Awesome, thank you.
So, El Roberto, where can we find you, friend?
So, I'm the Undead Gamer. Welcome. You can find me on all of the social media platforms at the Undead Gamer, gamer without the E. So that is Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. There's going to be some awesome photos coming this week from a certain LARP. You're welcome. So, so stay tuned for that. But as for the stream, I haven't been streaming as regularly as I hope to with the new schedule and stuff. Things have kind of got in the way with it, sadly. But we're doing our best, damn it.
Too busy playing Santa Claus, and that's why.
Yeah, fucking hell. Anyway, so you can hope to see more Horizon Zero Dawn on the channel. Some more Gwent as we drive ourselves into that game and learn the ropes further. And hopefully, either this month or next month, something very special that will feature myself and Mr. Singularity Josh. Some absolute outrageous shenanigans will be taking place. So
you are absolutely not ready for it.
So stay tuned for that at twitch.tv/theundeadgamer. Obviously, if you're already here, you know where we are. So, yes, thank you very much, very, very much for tuning in our special end-of-year show, our Christmas show. Obviously, it's not at the end of the month like normal because Christmas is a thing, and it's very busy this time of year. So this is the only time we could fit in a show. So the next podcast,
and it's my birthday.
Absolutely.
When we could do it. So
the next podcast will be on Tuesday, the 28th of January. So stay tuned for that. As for a topic or a question that we can ask you guys, not quite sure yet, but I suppose we'll get to you when we can.
We'll have to think about it.
Absolutely. So yes, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and thank you for joining in with our topic, with our best and worst. We really do appreciate it. And yes, we will catch you in the next one. So until then, have an awesome and safe holidays, and have a happy one, and have an awesome new year.
Yeah,
and
happy holidays and happy new year, folks.
And we will catch you in 2020. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.